Hello and welcome to a Gooner Ramble podcast. You're joining me, James, this evening, not Giles. I'm back after a long layoff. It's lovely to be back. And joining us this evening is the regular across the pond, Judd. How you doing, mate?
Doing great. Glad to hear you're feeling better.
Oh, thank you. It's good to chat after a win as well. It's been a few weeks. It's been a long time.
True. Yes.
And also our special guest, you probably already saw on Twitter, but I can't believe we've managed to get him booked in. It is the chairman of the Arsene Wenger Appreciation Society. Send him a message. He will send you your badge pins in the post. How you doing, Memz? You alright?
Not too bad, Jojo. Thanks for having us on, mate.
You're welcome.
Not the quietly intro I was expecting, mate. I'm hardly anything but a Wenger fan, but anyway. Thanks for having us on, mate. It's an absolute pleasure.
No worries. Well, guys, going into today, I'll start off straight away with the team selection. It did shock quite a few. Some people thought Mertesacker would be back in there, and some were questioning, would Welbeck and Iwobi start? I thought, at Barcelona, them being took off early, made me think Wenger's looking at Everton, which is a bit weird. You don't normally hear about him really preparing for games as much these days, but he hooked Welbeck and Iwobi off in Barca, and he started them today, and it obviously paid off, which we'll talk about later. But what did you make of the team selection? I'll go to you first, Memz, as you're the guest.
Yeah, thank you. To be honest with you, I thought Wenger absolutely got the tactics and the team selection absolutely bang on today. I thought the centre-back pairing of Coquelin and Gabriel played immense. I was really bricking it before the game with the Kaku. He's banging form, but I thought Gabriel in particular handled him very well. He roughed him up. He showed great pace, and the team selection complemented it. What we had today was good balance in the team. I thought with Coquelin and El Nani as well, there was a good balance in the team there. And with Iwobi on the flanks and with Alexis on the flanks, I know Alexis went to the right today. Normally he's been playing on the left. I thought that just the balance was right today, JJ, with especially with Welbeck up front, who works particularly hard for the team. He looks very sharp. You can't knock the team selection today. Everything was perfect. Everything was bang on. It's just a shame that we seem to be finding that balance now after so many frustrating weeks, And it's similar to I tweeted it earlier on. It's similar to the actual scenario of Arteta and where Arteta got injured and then Coquelin got his chance. It's now similar to that Ramsey's got his picks up an injury, and now El Nani's got his chance. So sometimes it takes an injury for Arsene Wenger to maybe find the balance that was unexpected. And I think now we have got a very good balance in the team. We saw against Barcelona, El Nani's holding a bit more discipline than what Ramsey was in midfield. So I really like the dynamics of this team at the moment. So I'm just hopeful that Arsene Wenger will stick with this newfound formation that we've got, or the newfound team selection. He's going to have a selection problem when people come back from injury for sure. But the actual team selection today was bang on and perfect.
Yeah, Judd, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much all of that. Just a couple things to add. I thought based off of recent form and fitness that was probably the best squad to go with today. And I didn't really think about it on Wednesday night when Iwobi and Welbeck came off, that was probably for them to come back for the Everton match, and it turned out to be the case. I think Welbeck and Iwobi have shown that they can add a lot more to our attack than Walcott and Judd have shown lately. You can tell that both of them are a lot more dynamic. Walcott is, his strength is making space for others, but not really utilizing it himself lately, it seems like. And then Giroud, he kind of plays as the, basketball backboard for the midfield to play off of instead of trying to get in behind. And, Welbeck and Iwobi, that I think, they both have a lot more pace than Giroud, and they're both looking to get in behind. And, you could see the way that the game played out. I'm sure we'll get into it more in depth later, but they are a lot more dynamic, and they just made the entire attack look a lot more threatening than we have in, probably 2 months. So when I saw the team sheet, I thought, my initial thought was, yeah, that kind of makes sense. This is probably our best option. And then with Gabriel and Koscielny, I thought that they've shown signs in the past that they can make a good pairing, and it's just going to take time for them to gel. So I was happy to see that. And, honestly, I don't think any of our center halves have been exactly in great form consistently this year pretty much any point this year.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really upset with any of them. Mertesacker coming back, you kind of like his size against Lukaku, but, at the same time, we have to worry about Lukaku's pace as well. So any two of the three I thought would have been a decent option. And, it worked out brilliantly today.
Yeah.
On the day, I was, couldn't be more pleased with the way they played.
And, we talked about earlier, Memz, you're saying about you like the cut of this team and you like the partnerships that are forming. In their interview after the game, Welbeck and Iwobi said, me and him in training, we're linking up, we're doing this sort of thing. So they were really impressive. But then, like you said, I thought Gabriel and Coquelin in the centre-half position dealt with Lukaku, who, if you watch that video of last week against Chelsea, that's all I saw before the game on BT. They were hyping him. I'm like, I'm frightened. I'm like, this boy means business at the moment. I mean, he's third highest striker in the league, I think, behind Vardy and Kane. So we all know about him. But then again, the partnership of Coquelin and Elneny as well, they stopped everything coming through. Basically Barkley was anonymous in this game, and he's meant to be one of the best young English players. He barely had a touch, like his passes were going wayward, and we dealt with him really well. But out of them partnerships, which one stood out for you? Because Gabriel got a lot of flack this week. I saw a lot of people saying, is he the right man? Is he going to deliver? And I think today he showed. He has a lot of fight. I like him a lot.
I do. I've been a big fan of Gabriel, to be honest with you, and I think it's very unfair to judge players based on one or two games and then they're dropped and out of the team. I think if you want to judge a player, you need to judge them over 5 or 6 games that they've played consistently, and then you can sort of determine whether or not they can cut the mustard or not. The problem with players like Gabriel is that they play 2 or 3 games, Mertesacker gets fit, and then he's back in the team, and you can't. It's hard to judge that. I think going back to your question, I mean the partnership that really impressed me, and it has impressed me over the last couple of weeks, is Elneny and Coquelin. With Elneny, he seems to do the basic things, but do them very well. You don't see that many flicks or that many Cruyff turns or that anything spectacular. But what he does is he retains the ball very well. He gives it very simple. He works very hard for the team. I saw some statistics against Barcelona, and he covered more ground than any other player.
I'd like to see his grounds today, because he just seemed endless. He just zips up and down. He just seems like he doesn't get tired.
Judge, he's unbelievable. At one point he was the most furthest man forward. He was closing down the back four. He attracts the ball. He goes to the ball. There was a clip after the game of Barkley, and I think it was Owen Hargreaves described Elneny as like a rash. He was all over him, and that's how he is. But he's very comfortable on the ball as well, and it's very difficult to find a player that can work hard but is comfortable on the ball. And Elneny has got a lot to his game. He's got the engine. He's a very, very good signing. And I think next season you'll see, hopefully, potentially, you'll see him playing a lot more in the centre midfield position. I think Arsene Wenger's going to have a terrible headache when Ramsey's back, when Cazorla's back, or when Jack Wilshere's back. How's he going to accommodate
all of them?
Yeah, but I think what Arsene Wenger needs to do is play players based on form rather than reputation, and he's prepared to do that. You've seen it with Bellerin in the past when Bellerin broke into the team and he kept out Debussy. You've seen it with Francis Coquelin. He's kept out Mikel Arteta, who was our club captain in the past. So I honestly think that if Elneny continues to play well, he will continue. He will keep his place. I think he's really impressed me. I mean, another player that's impressed me as well is Danny Welbeck. Not a lot many people talk about. I mean, the thing with Danny Welbeck is he works so hard for the team. You see him tracking back today. He's got pace. He's good in the air. The only thing about Danny Welbeck is he's just not clinical enough, JJ. He sometimes he's a bit rash with his finishing. I thought he took his goal very well today.
Well, you watched that today. What he did, that's what he tried to do against Mascherano, but luckily, Jagielka's nowhere near his league, so he was a bit more fortunate today.
I don't think so.
No. But going into that Welbeck goal, for me, obviously the £75 million worth of talent combines, we all go wow, but if you watch Danny Welbeck's movement there, Memz, you saw it. He times that run perfect, and you see Jagielka spin round with his hands on his hips, going shit, because all he sees is the back of he sees Welbeck 23, and then he rounds his keeper and slots it in. It's a fantastic finish, and if he builds on this, he's on form. He's one of the best strikers. He's got what is it, 4 in 5 or something now? He's banging them in.
It's what we've been crying out for, JJ. It's that player with pace, and I've got no doubt that Ozil and Alexis, they have also been crying out for that as well.
Yeah.
You look at Giroud. Giroud's a fantastic link-up player. He brings other players into the game. I think Giroud will probably play better in a 4-4-2. But the formation that we play, we really need our lead striker player up the middle to have pace. Danny Welbeck's got that in abundance, and his movement's very well, his work rate's very well. I just wish he was a little bit more clinical. But I think that with the amount of chances we create, he will score goals. And I think, it was just a shame that, we've had the injuries this season. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses because we should have a squad big enough to cope. But now you're seeing Welbeck coming into the team and how different we're playing. In some of the games we've been lacking, we've been looking a bit flat. We haven't been as dynamic, but now you've got the front three who's got a lot of pace. I don't like the fact that sometimes I'm going off a little bit, but I don't like the fact that sometimes Wenger plays Aaron Ramsey on the right. I think with our front three, they need to have pace. And you see today the balance that we had. Everything was perfect today. So I'm happy today. I'm not going to moan. I'm not going to moan today. So I'm one of these people that if I can find a fault with Arsene Wenger, I will find it and I will criticise it. But today I can't. So I'll take my hat off to the guy. And he got everything bang on today.
Yeah. Well, moving back into the midfield in the middle. Today, Francis Coquelin, Judd, 12 interceptions, won all of his aerial duels, 2 blocks and 2 tackles. After the game, we saw him shirt off. He's screaming and shouting. He's loving it out there. How good was he for you today as well?
Oh, massive. And, this is the Francis Coquelin that we missed during the winter season when he was out with his injury, the one that we got back at the end of last season that had such a massive impact on our run-in. I don't want to spin it negatively, but this is what we've needed, and it's no fault of his coming back from injury. It's going to take some time, but hopefully, we can keep getting these kind of performances out of him for the rest of the season. And like Memz was saying, his pairing with El-Neni is it's really starting to gel, and I think it could be massive. I don't want to get too excited about one day, one match. But it's certainly a promising sign for the future. I'm always one that's saying you can't really read too much into one single game. But if this is a sign of things to come, and one would only think that based off of, how little time they've played together, that it's only going to improve over time. I mean, they could be a massive pairing for the run-in and then for the, beginning of next season. And I think El-Neni's the type of player that we've really been lacking with Cazorla's injury. A lot of times Cazorla doesn't get the credit for the work that he does defensively. And El-Neni's very disciplined in his positioning on the field. He certainly does get up and get involved in the attack, but he also is very responsible coming back and helping out Coquelin. And I think that at times that's a fault of Ramsey's, is he'll drift forward and then he doesn't put in the work to get back. El-Neni certainly does that. And I think that, the way they played together today was absolutely immense. I think, I don't have a count, but I think Everton had maybe 3 or 4 chances that you could legitimately say that were very threatening. In the second half, they had quite a bit of the possession, but still weren't able to create a whole lot. And I think most of that was down to the way that the midfield was playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And, Iwobi today, we're talking about people who stand out. Here he is, 19 years old, 28 passes, 3 shots. He created a chance for, I think it was Danny Welbeck, and he scored a goal himself as well. And what a goal as well. I mean, Michael Owen was over here commentating. All right, he's not my favourite. I don't think he's a lot of people's favourites, but it was quite reminiscent of that goal against Argentina, wasn't it? It was a long run, and then the finish as well. Oh my word, We have a WhatsApp group, and Clive said, didn't he, Judd? He said he's retired for Walcott in his eyes today.
Clive's got a point.
I think it was you posted something mental on Twitter, something about how much he earns a week compared to the 140 grand. Yeah,
that's right. He's on an estimated about £900 a week at the moment for a youth team player. So compare that to what Theo Walcott's on.
Oh god,
140 grand. It's incredible. So I mean, I thought Iwobi was fantastic today. I mean, in the second half, I think he got a bit tired and a couple of passes that he could have laid in Ozil, and he could have laid in I think it was Alexis, and a couple of passes got. But his work rate, his desire, and sometimes that's what you need. You need a young player, a homegrown player, to come along when the chips are down and inspire the rest of the team. And I thought he done particularly well today. I'm really happy and proud with the lad as well. I thought he done really well.
I like that he always wants the ball. Like, he wants it because he's like, "Oh, come on, give it to me. I'll try it. I'll do something." I like that in young players, but sometimes we've had it and it hasn't gone right. But do you feel? I'll go to you first, Judd, and then come back to Memz. Do you feel, like we said earlier about when Bellerin come in and over Sangya and stuff like that, and he made Sangya look redundant? He's got that hunger, Iwobi. Do you feel that maybe now he's just like, no, you know what? I've been here since I'm 9, 10. I want it. Like, Walcott, you've had your 10 years. He seems a bit ruthless in a way.
I mean, it's hard to read in because we only see him on the telly twice, 2 or 3 times now, and a couple substitution appearances, but it certainly looks that way, and he definitely is fearless out there, and, maybe it is part of the youth that he just doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to be afraid of.
As long as they don't knock it out of him, it's working at the moment, isn't it? So.
Oh, yeah, I mean, ride it while it's hot. I mean, he's been playing brilliantly. I thought he was by far the best player on the pitch against Barcelona, and today he just carried on that performance. The rest of the team played, up more closer to his level, but he, for a 19-year-old, has been absolutely phenomenal. And then those couple little mistakes that he had in the second half when he looked to maybe be tiring, that's what you expect to see from a 19-year-old, and we're looking at it as an anomaly and a dip in his game. He had a couple errors where he maybe delayed the pass a little bit too long and maybe overhit a couple passes, but all in all, man, for a 19-year-old, he was probably my man of the match, honestly.
Yeah, well, the Arsenal account tweeted it out, didn't they, like they normally do. I don't know why they don't just do a poll and save a lot of time, but they tweeted that out, and I think he's won by a landslide now. So.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, they had Bellerin in there as well. Obviously, it was his birthday.
Oh, he was immense too.
Yeah, well, he got another assist today, and I believe I read somewhere no other defender under 21 in Europe has got more assists this season in the top 5 leagues or whatever than Bellerin or something. So that just goes to show how impressive he is, and I think he's got more assists than Fabregas and a few of the other, creative midfielders. Yeah, these creative midfielders
it's crazy
in the league.
To think that he's just turned 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like he's been around for ages and he's been playing well beyond his years.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, he's one of them, isn't he? We're very lucky that we sometimes, we get these gems, and we get criticised. A lot of our players go on loan. You see Akpom's doing bits. Isaac Hayden just got called up to the England under-21s this week. He's meant to be quite impressive in a DME/centre-back role. Torrell at Birmingham scoring these 30-yard screamers. It's just nice to have the young players that are staying, as well, like Bellerin and Iwobi coming through, isn't it?
It is. And the guy Torrell over at Birmingham, we signed him actually with Bellerin.
Yeah.
They came to the club at the same time, and I've watched a few games at Birmingham. And he's a fantastic player, and I think that potentially with Arteta, Meany going, he can possibly step up as well and maybe compete. But I think it's a credit to Arsene Wenger, and like I said, I do point out his mistakes, but I will praise him when he gets things right. I mean, he's given Bellerin a chance. Bearing in mind that we had all this experience. He went out and signed Debussy. We had Cole Jenkinson, who was a particularly good looking right back. He's stuck with Bellerin. He gave him his opportunity, and he did look a bit vulnerable when he first broke into the team. But obviously, he's got so much attributes to his game. He's got that raw pace. People think that he's poor defensively. He's not. He gets back and he makes these last-ditch tackles. But Bellerin he's one of these players that when he first burst onto the scene, very similar to Nicolas Anelka, you can see immediately that this player is special.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been wrong for Arsene Wenger. Once he broke into the team and he started doing well, it would have been wrong to have held him back. My only fear about Bellerin is that, there is all these rumours that potentially he'll go back to Barcelona one day. Hey, if that's the case, so be it. Let's enjoy it while it lasts. But I think he's a fantastic talent. And it's good to see the young kids coming through because we've got so many now. There's the guy, Zemerlan, who's at the Rangers. There's that Dan Crowley, he's supposed to be rated really highly. There's a lot of young players at the club, and potentially they can be the next step. There's that Jeff Adelaide as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's really impressive as well. So there's youth there. There's something for us to be excited about. But I'm always sceptical about getting excited about young players because we've had our fingers burnt so many times with the likes of Quincy Owusu-Abayi and was it J. Emmanuel Thomas, where everyone thought that they were going to be the next big thing, and that didn't happen. So yeah, but it's exciting times for the youngsters, and it gives good inspiration for the other young players at the club to see that other players are doing it. So it's good.
Yeah. I mean, we nearly got to see another youngster in Matt Macy today. I'll go to you, Judd. You're our resident goalkeeping thing. At the time, I was sat there going, "You got to hook him, Wenger. You got to hook it." I was screaming at the telly.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's fucked, basically. He can't kick the ball. He's wincing. I'm like. And I've got to give credit to our fans when Coquelin took the kick for him. You know how they do the Ospina?
Yeah.
They did the chant for Coquelin. I thought that was quality. Yeah, that cracked me up. But no, you yourself would. I admit the bravery there as well with Lukaku. He's a big, strong man, kicking him in the back of the head in the back. I thought that's it, get him off. But he carried on, and that was quite impressive. But no, would you have hooked him off at the time? Were you a bit worried?
I was certainly a bit worried. I mean, I don't know if I would have taken him out or not because after the goal kick, you're hoping that you can get a little bit of possession and maybe give him a minute to recover. It was really, when you stop and look at it, the keeper, apart from shuffling around side to side, is basically standing around doing nothing for 90% of the match or more. So if he's hobbled a little bit, as long as it's not going to affect his reactions, then okay. I've played with bone spurs on my toes. Not fun, but you can make it work.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. But my initial worry, when I first saw it, I thought it was a head injury. It looked like to me live, it looked like maybe Lukaku's knee caught him in the top of the head. And my thought was, my worry was that perhaps he was concussed, and then you don't really have much of an option. You got to, for safety, you got to take him out. But and then when he stood up and was hardly able to walk there for the first couple of minutes, I was certainly worried. Macy's getting ready to come on. Thankfully, I thought he recovered well. It didn't look like it bothered him after a minute or two. I dealt with a couple corners pretty well. He did have that one, the first corner after the injury, it was pretty shaky where he came out, and I think it was it Jagielka put it wide, his header? Oh man.
Yeah. Well, it was off his shoulder or something, wasn't it? It was a bit weird, yeah.
Well, I think they gave him another corner after that, but I didn't see any deflection.
No, same.
But either way, that's how bad the miss was, I suppose.
Well,
he recovered very well.
Yeah, and sadly Ozil got taken off as well second half with an ankle injury, but I think it's international break now. I don't know if he'll play in the Germany-England game. I hope he doesn't. I want to cling on to some hope that England will get something out of it, but that's me.
It looked like he just got stepped on, so hopefully that's just a knock that he can recover from. It didn't look like there was any twist or bend in the ankle, but sometimes you see those where a player comes down and it's a metatarsal. So
I think with injuries as well. I think with injuries as well, Jen, when Ospina went down, I always look at the reaction of the players next to him, and I see Coquelin was waving on the physio, and I thought it was something quite serious, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But thank God I think he's actually pulled out of the international game, Ospina, in midweek, and I think Ozil has as well. But as Judd said, it just looked like an impact injury, so it should be just a bit of bruising maybe, and he should be back. But this last thing we need is more injuries, isn't it? Bloody hell.
That's all we seem to ever go on about. But with the international break coming up, obviously people are saying, well, obviously Sheck's going to come back in, but have you been quite impressed with Ospina these last few games? I mean, for me, all right, we haven't had the best of runs, but it was quite reminiscent to when Alex Meninga come in for Seaman all them seasons ago. I feel Ospina probably might go in the summer because he's not crap by any means. Do you know what I mean? I think he's good enough to be a bit like Fabianski. All right, he wasn't the best, but he's good enough to be a goalkeeper somewhere else. I think first team. I don't think he's going to be willing to sit there all year again. Get occasional cup appearances, or if somebody gets injured, I'm the man.
Well, he's an international goalkeeper, mate. So he's going to want to play first week in, week out. To be honest with you, I mean, with Ospina, he's always been a very good reactional, shot-stopping goalkeeper. He makes some fantastic saves. The problem with his decision making, as we saw today with crosses, he does flat for some crosses, and we've seen in the Champions League when he dropped one as well. Coming for crosses is not his strongest point, but his shot stopping, the way he got down. At Tottenham, he made a fantastic save. I think it was against Lamela early on. He made a fantastic save against Barcelona as well. He's a great shot-stopping goalkeeper, but like yourself, I don't know. I think he's going to be happy sitting on the bench. There was a lot of talk about Besiktas that came in for him and was willing to pay big money for him. So it's probably, with Szczesny coming back potentially, is Szczesny going to be happy sitting on the bench? I don't know. So
I hope he's not. I hope he goes personally. I'm not a fan of his at all.
Yeah, you and me both, mate. I don't like his attitude. And there's all types of talk in Italy that he's been caught smoking again and all types of things. So he's one of these lads where I think he's a bit of he's got his own lifestyle outside of football. I don't think he's probably the most professional football players. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I think at the moment within the team, we seem to have a nice balance. You've got Kieran Gibbs and you've got other players that don't mind sitting on the bench. So I think you need that in the squad. You need players that are prepared to sit and wait, not just create noise when they're not playing. And Ospina's done that. He's been very professional, but I think probably next summer he would probably want to become number one, as all players do.
Mm-hmm. And Judd?
Completely agree. I think as an international keeper, he's going to want to be getting as many minutes as he can. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench watching. And unfortunately, he is just 6 foot tall, so naturally he's going to have a little bit more struggles and check going for crosses and not to say that you can't be a good keeper at 6 foot tall, and Pepe Reina did a great job for Liverpool not too long ago, but yeah, personally I think my record on Szczesny's been pretty clear. I'm not ever been a huge fan, but another thing to remember is he is still pretty young. If he can come back, maybe just rein in his antics a little bit, he's got a great person to learn from if he's sitting behind Czech. Whether or not he'd be happy to do that, who knows? As long as he's not doing it in the changing room, I don't care if he smokes. Lung capacity for a keeper is not a big deal. As long as he can yell at his back four. But I don't know if he'd be happy sitting. He is potentially an international keeper for Poland as well, so he's naturally going to want to be getting as much playing time as possible, you would imagine. But if he can kind of just chill out a little bit, stay off social media, I'd be happy with him as our number 2.
I agree with you.
But yeah, I see Ospina probably trying to look to get out.
I mean, potentially what could happen, lads, is that we could actually even lose both of them. Because they're like, and we've got young Martinez, who's a decent goalkeeper from what I've seen. He's out on loan at the moment, or Wenger might be looking to bring in another younger goalkeeper, maybe.
I know, didn't he just sign this Huddart or whatever it was to a long-term deal this week? He's the one who's isn't he 6'10" and he's only 18 or something? He's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think I've seen him, yeah. So maybe he's got a lot of faith in him, I don't know.
Let's hope so.
Just quickly as well, whilst we're here, what impressed you with Arsenal today that hasn't for the last few weeks, guys? What was it today? Was it mainly how we dealt with Lukaku and the other players, or for me, I looked at it and I thought they didn't seem G'd up for Barcelona. Which, if you can't get G'd up for Barcelona, then God knows why you're here. We couldn't get G'd up for the FA Cup, which for me was obviously our easiest route to another trophy this year. Yeah. But now I think like you said, chips are down. People are getting a bit pissed off, all right, we'll get into it later with some banners and some chants. But, for me, Sanchez today looked angry. And he was throwing his arms about at players, he was throwing his arms about at refs for not getting the decisions. I just think, is this team playing a bit angry now, or is it something else?
Judd, do you want to go for it?
That way. Yeah, for me, I thought the most impressive thing was the way that we were, more threatening in attack. When we had possession in the final third, the attacking third, we were moving off the ball more than I think we have in a while. We were trying to get in behind the defense, and it looked like at any pass we were going to have, 1-2 touches away from having a shot on goal. Going back for the last month, I can't tell you, I don't think I've seen that a handful of times in the last month. Most of the time we'll just be standing around off the ball seemingly, and just, it looked a lot quicker today, a lot more dynamic today. And I thought that, right from the start we played that way, and we've had a tendency over the last couple of months to just kind of ease our way into games. And I'm not going to speculate as to whether or not they were fired up against Barcelona. I think we just simply got outplayed. But against some of the other, Premier League sides that we've played recently and struggled, it definitely looked that way, especially against United away. And then today, yeah, you could definitely see they looked like they were more fired up, more ambitious, more into the game right from the go. And hopefully we continue to see that. And I for the life of me, have never been able to understand why a professional athlete isn't fired up going into every match he plays. Is it because Wenger just picks his side and sticks with them, hell or high water, and guys get comfortable and don't think they have to go out there and perform? But you look at a lot of the other sides, those guys realize that if they don't perform on a weekly basis, that's their livelihood on the line. They're done. They're going to be moved on. They're going to be,
You look at Van Gaal midweek. I can't remember who it was. They misplaced the pass and straight away get him off. It doesn't give him a second chance. That's it. You do it once, you're gone.
Yeah, you don't see that too often at Arsenal, if ever. And it's odd to me that he allows players to get away with too much. And and unfortunately, it seems as though they don't want to repay his faith in him. Especially players like Walcott. I think this last 2-3 months, Walcott has done what? He had the good game against Hull, and that was only a half. The first half was absolutely diabolical. And then how often has Wenger gone back and returned the faith in him and been let down by Walcott over and over again? And it just boggles my mind why he would even keep a guy like that around. He's been betrayed by Walcott so many times, yet still gives him another opportunity. I think right now it's, more because of the limited options that we have in the fixture load, but geez, Pete, man. Just does my head in. But I'm sure we'll get into that with some of the listener questions.
And Memz, what about yourself on that?
Do you know what, JJ, I've been so frustrated over the last couple of weeks because we've had so many opportunities to claw the gap and to capitalise this season, because this season is, we've seen all the big clubs struggle. We've got Leicester ahead of us. We've got Spurs ahead of us. And if we can't get inspired or get motivated to want to win the league with knowing that Leicester and Tottenham are above us, then I think some of these players are in the wrong sport. We've gone to places like Old Trafford and we've seen a very flat performance. I didn't think we played particularly well. In the FA Cup games when we had the opportunity to go on and win the FA Cup for the third year running. With some of these players, like Judd says, are just so flat at the moment. It's almost like they're complacency because they know that they're going to be playing week in, week out. And this all goes back to the likes of Mertesacker, who's been playing quite poorly. We saw him in some of the games where he made some horrendous mistakes when he was looking across the line rather than making tackles. Got sent off as well. Ramsey was playing poor for months. And it took Wenger finally decides to drop him against the Spurs. Well, he didn't actually drop him; he just played him out of position on the right hand side of midfield. But Giroud wasn't playing well for weeks, and Theo wasn't playing well for weeks as well. It's just so frustrating that even though sometimes players ain't playing well, Wenger sort of persists and willing to give them another opportunity. But today it was different. We seemed fresh. There was this almost like the players felt for the first time maybe that, yes, maybe we are going to drop out of the top four potentially, or maybe there is something that wrong here. I think there's this element at Arsenal where I think that they are just so complacent and so they're not winners. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like they're happy to finish in the top four. Where they've got that opportunity to win the league. I mean, you look at Leicester, they're going for it. It's everything to them. They're fighting it. With us, it's like, if we don't win the title, we'll finish in the top four. It don't matter. We should be happy with finishing in the top four. We should be giving everything to win the title. And I think that we just got the wrong mentality over at Arsenal. And sometimes it takes for a number of defeats. Sometimes it takes for a banner. Sometimes it takes for players to be, slagged off on social media. Sometimes for people to wake up. And I think that Arsene Wenger is not that type of manager that goes into the change rooms and to start bollocking the players. I heard a very good interview with Ian Wright a couple of weeks ago, and someone asked him, what's Arsene Wenger like in the change room? And he said that he hardly says the word. When he first came to Arsenal, there was a game in particular, and Pat Rice went into the change room and started shouting and screaming and throwing things around, and Arsene Wenger went, whoa, calm down, don't talk to the players like that. Sometimes players need that, and it's so frustrating this year because this was our opportunity to win the title. It really was, and I'm not saying it's gone, but But it's going to be very difficult now to win the title. And if we finish behind Leicester and don't win a title, all this theory that we can't compete with Russian oil money or we can't compete with, all that bollocks that we've been putting up with for all these years is just Leicester have just proved it all wrong. Because it just shows what tactics,
can't compete with crisps.
Yeah, can't compete with a Walkers Stadium, So it's a missed opportunity this year. And, it's just so frustrating when we see a performance like today. Why hasn't this been going on? Or why, where has this team been for the last 2 months? Why can you put it out of the bag when it means nothing? But when we desperately need it, why can't you do it? And it all comes down to motivation of the players, unfortunately. So this is where Arsene Wenger does have to take some criticism. I know what you're saying, that some professional athletes don't need it, but I think you do. You do need to be in that change room before the game, and you do need someone to give you some sort of talking and inspire you as a player. These players like Ozil, Alexis, you played in World Cups and everything like that, but you still need to be together as a team, and you need that manager. Look at Ranieri, for God's sake. He's on that touchline and he's shouting and screaming and giving the instructions. You look at Bilic, when a player comes on, he's hugging and kissing. It's like they want to win for the manager. With Arsene Wenger, does he really inspire you?
No.
So it's a tough one, mate. It's it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. But if we're talking about today's game, fantastic. If we're talking about the last month, what's been going on, it's frustrating. It's a mess, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say the next question we got here is about the confidence in the team after the international break. I know you've sort of gone over it a bit, but for me, I think obviously Sheck will come back, but I would keep that lineup that played today if they're all fit enough after touching wood, nobody gets hurt. That's the lineup now for me.
Yeah, for me also, mate.
I mean, I think like you said, Sanchez on the right today looked a hell of a lot better than he's been so off the boil the last couple of weeks. He's looked lost, and he looked and when I said he played angry today, I meant in a good way. The last couple of games he's looked angry as if to be like, do you know what? I can't be bothered with these lot anymore. I want it. And there's rumours of him being fed up. He wants to go. I think he's looking around him, a bit like Ozil as well. A workman's only as good as his tools, and he's looking around him like, I used to feed Ronaldo or Benzema. I'm like, I can't deal with these. Like, I can't keep up. These can't keep up with what I'm thinking.
Well, JJ, I think both players didn't come to Arsenal for the money. They could have probably earned more money at other clubs, and they came there because they were sold a dream, or they were sold that we're moving forward. You are going to be key to us moving forward, and we're going to be building players around you. If Ozil and Alexis are looking at Leicester, winning the title, they must be thinking, bloody hell, what are we doing here? Where's this project that we're supposed to be building here? So I have no doubt that the likes of Alexis Sanchez, we saw in the press when we won the FA Cup, Alexis Sanchez said, you know what, it's not good enough. I want to win a title. And Ozil's, is a World Cup winner. The idea of finishing behind Leicester, I've got no doubt that they are a little bit frustrated at the club. And let's see, maybe in the summer, Arsene Wenger can, if he's still around, of course, let's see if we can, sign some players that will inspire them to stay. But it's, Alexis looks, up until a couple of weeks ago, he looked like a broken man. He looked like a totally different player to what he was last season. And there's rumours of him having a bust up in training with another player. There's rumours of him being unhappy. There's rumours of all types of things. Apparently after the Barcelona game, he told a number of people in Spain that he was home. He didn't like London. So there's all types of rumours going around. But I think with Alexis, he needs to be loved. And he needs to be appreciated. And at the moment, I don't think we're getting the best out of him. And that could come to a number of reasons, but it's frustrating because we've got a better squad than Leicester. We've got a better team than Leicester. It's just, how can we be
twice? Yeah,
exactly. But you look at the course of the season there. Why is it that Leicester with players like Wes Morgan or Albrighton, with Schmeichel, these are players who have been journeymen, for God's sake, but you've got a manager who's managing to get the best out of them.
It's passion, Memz. Honestly, it's passion and mentality. We talk about Theo Walcott. Theo Walcott, he's got 10 years. I got 8 weeks in River Island and got told to fuck off. Do you know what I mean? It's. Do you know what I mean? It's not on. It's not on. And for me, I just don't know what it is. I look at Leicester and like you said, Wes Morgan and Robert Huth. This is a guy who's been. I saw him at Highbury when he played for Chelsea. Thierry Henry put him on his arse.
Yeah.
Spun him into bits, but he could win a Premier League medal before Sanchez and Ozil. You just don't bear thinking about, really. And the other lot winning it, that team in Middlesex having it, that for me is even worse. I can't even imagine that. So it's just a mess. But it's all passion. I can't remember who it was. I was talking about. I think it was an ex-player the other week was talking about. Who was the game against? Something about Oxlade-Chamberlain in the tunnel mucking about, dancing and so. Yeah, I can't remember what ex-player it was. He's like, you'd get a fucking slap if you tried that when I'd be around.
I think that was Merson. I think that was Merson that said that.
It's like get your head in the match, mate. Like, stop all this. I've seen it recently on our Twitter page. There's not all that. Oh, look who's on Snapchat today. Look who's doing this today. Focus on the game. Let's do all the. We can have as many parties as we want after this. Yeah. We got 8 games left. If we give it as much effort as we did today, and I want a proper, have a proper go. At Watford, it looked like as soon as Igalo scored that goal, heads are down. Yeah. We've lost it now. There was no fight back. Today I thought that's better. It's still for me. I thought second half, keep that energy up. Let's smack a team 5 or 6. That's what old Arsenal would do. Yeah. We'd go out there and we'd turn them. But we kept it 2-0. Okay, fair enough. Still won the game. But I want that kind of commitment, that kind of energy all season for the rest of these 8 games.
Agree with you. Well said.
Because it's not impossible. It is the hope that kills you. I'll admit that. Maybe I am getting a little bit deluded here. But you just don't know. You just don't know.
It makes some good points, mate. You well said. But
Judd, what about you? I haven't really. I know you chipped in a bit. What about yourself? I want you to have a say. It feels bad, It feels like me and Memz are running it.
I'm quiet because I'm in agreement. So there's not a whole lot for me to add. But getting back to this, just this general mindset of Ozil and Sanchez, and I think that they have to be disappointed with the way things have worked out with our attack this year. And we've been saying for years, give Wenger one more transfer window. And hopefully this summer we do something about that attack, man. We need somebody that can just take their chances. We're gonna give them plenty. They don't have to have the best conversion rate on the planet, but we can't be doing this. What was the stat I heard the other day? Over the last month and a half, we've had 147 shots for 6 goals or something like that.
Yeah.
That's just not going to fly. And it's not, and you know what though, and honestly, it's not just the strike force that's letting us down. I mean, it's everybody that's had those opportunities, and we just need a more clinical striker to set that tone. And I know Simo will be upset to hear me say that, but I've defended Giroud in the past, but it's getting to the point now where I think his game's just so twisted right now. I think that was another one of the biggest differences between this side today and over recent weeks is we were looking to get in behind, when Welbeck turned Jagielka for that goal, that's the first time that anybody in the midfield seen the back of our striker's shirt in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's true.
We need more of that, and maybe Welbeck's the answer, but we're going to need more cover. That's been another issue of ours over the years. We've never had the most,
It's weird to say, though, isn't it? If I said to you at the start of the year, towards the end of the season, Danny Welbeck's going to be our best centre forward option, you'd probably have looked at me and gone, well, first of all, James, don't worry, it's the summertime, we're going to buy someone. And second of all, you'd laugh at me going, Danny Welbeck, James, come on. But I mean, at the moment, all right, his finishing right isn't of a top level, but he's the best. He's the best thing we have.
It doesn't have to be the most brilliant finishing in the world as long as he takes, some of his chances. We haven't been taking any of our chances lately.
Do you know what the problem is as well, there, mate? Is in some games you're not going to get that many chances. I mean, you saw against Watford. That when he came on, he made a massive difference to the team. But then he got that chance when he spun on it on the 6-yard box. And he put it wider over. There's going to be some games against Chelsea away. There's going to be some tight games, and when you're going to get just that glimpse of a chance, you need that killer. You need that Ian Wright. You need that one that's just going to score goals and sniff. But this is something that we've been needing for 3 years. This is something. This is something. I know Wenger's putting bids for Suarez or Higuain and things like that. But this was the summer. This was the summer where we had no excuses. We didn't have no World Cup. We qualified for the Champions League. Money's available. It's looking back now. And if we all would have said, what did we need at the start of the summer? We could have all said defensive midfield cover for Coquelin and a striker. We didn't do it. And it's he went out in January and he bought cover for El Nani, and a great signing he's been. But we still need that striker. Yeah. But, and I've got no doubt that City are going to spend big next year.
Oh, they all are.
They all are. And how are we going to attract these players to us?
Well, you look at Klopp when he starts buying the players he wants to buy. He's already there's that. West Ham going where they're going, and oligarchs probably going to look at that and go, well, I've got Stratford there, I've got casinos there, I've got hotels there. This is a prime place to buy that. And Golden and Sullivan will go, as long as you keep us on. They're going to be attracting all sorts of players.
Absolutely.
It's just it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really, really difficult. And I mean, you see these reports. All right, it's the Metro, it's this one, it's that one, linking us with this 22-year-old who plays in French Division 2. And it's like, because those last two Division 2 French strikers you got in Park Ji-young or whatever his name was, and Sanogo have been fantastic, haven't they? They've really worked out. It's getting to the stage, you're taking the piss a bit out of us.
Of course you are.
Go out there. And people, all right, I'll admit, I sometimes suffer from the FIFA syndrome. No, buy me the big ones. I want the big uns. But, I look at it and go, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. All right, the wages might be through the roof. All right, he's quite old. He'd do it. He'd do it for me. He'd score.
But lads, you look at Man United under last season at Ferguson. He knew that they needed a striker. He went out and he went and bought Robin van Persie for £25 million, and he won the league. Okay? Yeah. I don't give a shit what he'd done the next season. No. He won that league. And people might say, great business for Arsenal. No, it wasn't good business for Arsenal because we basically bought Manchester United the league. Or they bought it from us. That's what Arsene Wenger needs to do. He needs to identify where the weaknesses are and go and buy that player. I don't give a shit how much it costs. We've got the money. It's sitting there gathering interest. I don't care. But the thing with Arsenal, there's all types of rumours go around about how the negotiations work. It's well known that Arsene Wenger doesn't like paying over the odds, but that should be taken out of his hands. He shouldn't have that power. No. Where he should turn around and say to the board, Dick Law, whoever the bloody hell it is, I want this player, go and buy him, finished. Yep. But with Arsene Wenger, he negotiates with the price, he negotiates the term of the contract, he wants to know that, what's it got to do with him? Just if you need that player that's going to turn us into champions, just go and get him. Go and buy the Aubameyang. Go and buy your whoever it may be. This is where I get frustrated with Arsene Wenger because
you know what, Memz. Many years ago, when we had someone like a David Dean, I remember he got Sol Campbell, and Arsene Wenger was on holiday, and he wanted Jerzy Dudek that used to play for Liverpool in goal. Yeah. He looked at Jerzy Dudek and went, I want him. He got told, you need to buy more English players. He was like, no, I want Jerzy Dudek. In the end, David Dean stamped his foot and went, we're getting Richard Wright. He's good enough and he's English. That's who we're getting. You're getting Richard Wright. There's no one there like that anymore. They go, okay then, Arsene. There's no one for me, there's no one there that questions his, mentality or his thoughts. And that's where, tonight we talk about, we had another banner today. All right, it got taken down quite quick. It looked like it was turning a bit ugly. Looked like he was getting punched. There's just 3 punches being thrown.
Yeah,
which is exactly what I hate. I don't want to see people in my club fighting one another. That's the worst thing I want it to come to. But that's the state of affairs. Sorry, state of affairs. But they're chanting for him to go. Kroenke, there's a F off and all this. The chance today.
It's no one wants to see this divide in our club. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, whether or not you're Wenger in or you're Wenger out. Or me personally, and I've been Wenger out for a long, long time because I've been frustrated with him. But I think it's got to the point now where you can see that our fans are divided and you can see punch-ups happening in the stands with banners. If Arsene Wenger came out and he turned around and said, you know what? I am not going to sign a new contract and I will go at the end of the 2007 season. I don't think there'll be any banners. There won't be this fighting because everyone would know there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that a lot of the fans will actually enjoy his last season and thank him in some aspects and say, you know what, we've had so many years of frustration. At least we know he's going. Let's get behind him. But there is that frustration there because there's talk about giving him a bloody new contract. Do you know? I think that'll probably be if he gets a new contract. If you can see banners now and people fighting in the if he gets a new contract, mate, I think there's going to be bloody riots at the Emirates.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but he's the corporate wet dream, isn't he? That's why.
Oh God.
I mean, people. Well, people were talking to me the other day about Kroenke, and I just said, look, pre-season of this next season coming up, where are we going? They're like California. I went exactly. Yeah,
money spinning.
He's just got the Rams to move to LA as well. He can go to his American buddies. All right, no disrespect, Judd, but he can go.
Oh
look,
yeah, no, I know.
You know, this is my other team that I've got who play this soccer game. Come have a watch. You know, sit here and catch lovely sunshine and watch my other lads. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna piss off. He's ain't he the heir to Walmart or something, Judd? His wife she's like the heiress to Walmart. Yeah, he ain't gonna piss off.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, we're doomed.
He is. Well, and people always bang on about how he's not getting any payment or not taking any dividends out of the club, but he's getting payments of like, what is it, $5 or $6 million?
Yeah.
Fees or pounds even. So it's even convert that to dollars, it's like $10 million. It's just Kroenke is a businessman. He's not a sporting man, and for him, it is the bottom line. That's all that he cares about. I don't think there's really much left.
Do any of his other teams actually do well, Judd? Because obviously you're over there. Yeah, I was going to say, aren't they just there or thereabouts every year?
They're all also Rans. You know, and the only thing that's different is over here he can get away with that. You know, you can just sign your checks and show up and play, and your team's going to stay in the league forever. Nothing's going to happen. You know, in the EPL, you run the risk of, you know, falling out of the top four, losing your Champions League money, falling out of the Premier League, God forbid, and you're done. You know, so there needs to be, you know, results on the pitch over there. Over here, it doesn't matter, which is what one of the things that's driven me the most towards soccer. You know, forgetting the fact that I've played that, but Kroenke's very frustrating. You know, there's nothing you can do either. I mean, short of trying to buy it from him, which none of us are ever going to be able to do.
No.
Yeah, we're stuck with him, hell or high water, and hopefully we can get. Go ahead.
Sorry, mate. I honestly think if the fans actually voiced enough dislike to Stan Kroenke, if they stopped maybe buying merchandise or did some sort of protest, that maybe that might inspire Usmanov to try and take over. He might get the sort of fans on his side. So I think there is something that we can do. It just needs.
At least Usmanov is a fan. At least he attends games. You know, he's got some passion for it. You know, all right. You know, some people go, "Oh, I don't want Usmanov because we'll be like Chelsea." For me, I want that Chelsea that wins trophies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that, you know, that's a possibility, but a more positive spin on things is if we can build the club up enough that it is increasing value enough that it becomes a good return on investment for him to sell, that's just as likely to drive him off as well, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if he can get a 50% return over a 10-year span, he'd cash his chips in and go home. You know, I mean, we're going down a long tangent here, so your show, James. But if you want to move on to some of the listeners,
I've got some listeners' questions, so we can move on to these. We've got a question.
If we get any questions, who's my barber? I'm not answering those. So yeah.
Don't. We've had some about what's the best condiment and stuff this season. We've had some weird ones, mate. So they look quite good today. So don't worry.
Cool.
We got a question here from Walid Omar 159. He gets involved every week. He's a good guy. He put, should Arsenal sell Theo Walcott? He only seems to play when it's contract extension time.
Oh, God.
Go
on, Judd. You can go for that one, mate.
He's definitely looks like he's surplus to requirements right now. But I think the problem is who's going to buy him for the performances he's been putting in and the wages that he's on what are we going to get for him? I mean, I'm sure there's some club out there that'll take a flyer, but...
Do you know what? I think he's looking at it going, I don't want to be sold, because if I'm looking at other football clubs, I can't find a club that would justify 140 grand a week for him.
Yeah, you'd have to put in some work. And
I think even the ones that throw money at silly people, you know, like when Man City were signing Scott Sinclairs and these types, I think even they'd look at it and go,
Carroll,
you're not. Yeah, it's like, you're not worth 140 grand, we're not going to pay that.
Do you know what, lads? There's talk about
West Ham. I think he knows where his bread's buttered.
There's talk about West Ham who are interested in Theo. So there was a report a couple of days ago that's saying that West Ham will potentially be willing to pay 25 million for him in the summer when they go to the new.
If that's the case, I'd rip their arm off to get that deal.
But do you know what though? I mean, with Theo, he's one of these players that it will just be our luck, wouldn't it? That he'll go to another club and he'll just turn into this world class player that we all hoped he would be, and we've seen it in. We've seen it in some spells. I mean, he scored a fantastic goal against Manchester City when he was playing out on the left. You know, he cut inside and he bent it in past Joe Hart. He came off the bench and he scored an equaliser, I think, or against Leicester, I think it was. You know, and we've seen him in spells, Theo, and he can do amazing things. You know, against Manchester United at home, I think that when he was playing up front, he ruined them. But he just doesn't do it enough. And there's some games where you just want him to just grab the game by the scruff leg. You've got the pace, run at him, but it's like he trips over the ball sometimes. You know, you can't do the basics right. I think the problem with Theo as well, gents, is that we still don't know if he's a striker or a winger, and it's been 10 years at the club. Yeah. And that's the fact. I think we probably need Arsene Wenger to be a bit ruthless with him. Say, you know what, Theo? You're not good enough as a striker. You're never going to be a striker. Concentrate on playing on the right. Concentrate on beating your man and whipping in across, because that's all you're going to be. You know, we just need something to be a bit more harsh with him.
Yeah. A little late for that, though.
Do you know what else as well, Memz, as well, is that if we take someone else, you know, if I pluck out Daniel Sturridge, for example, we can all see his quality. Mm-hmm. But Liverpool are looking to sell him because he can't play through the pain threshold. Yeah. Theo Walcott, for me, is the same. He never really looks 100%. He looks stronger sometimes when you see him when he comes back from an injury. He looks stronger physically. He looks bulked up, but he just can't, you know, I've seen it so many times when it used to be Evra, it used to be certain. When there's a big, strong, big boy left back, he don't like it. He goes missing in that game. You don't see him at all.
I don't know, mate. It's like I said, though, it wouldn't surprise me if Theo goes to another club and he'll just hit the ground running and turn into the player, and everyone will just go, so why didn't he do that at Arsenal? You know, it's frustrating though, because you've seen like when Joel Campbell's broke into the team. You know, he's scored goals, he's had assists, and now he's dropped back down the pecking order. You know, and you've got Iwobi that's come in and done the job. You know, the Ox as well, he's another player that's frustrating. That, you know, we all hope that he'll be that player. But you got to draw the line somewhere with Theo. He hasn't done it. So what do? Do you sell him? Or do you just continue to pay him 140 grand? It's a ludicrous amount of money, you know. So it's a big decision to come in on. I mean, if the club comes in the summer and is willing to pay big money for him, I'm a big fan of Theo. But you know, you got to take it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it's 10 years.
Well, you just pay him off before he gets his testimonial and save some more money.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. We got another question here from Jas AFC. He's put, which players would form Arsenal's front six if everybody was fit?
Fucking hell, I was thinking about this earlier and I can't.
Yeah. I saw the tweet come across too, and I started thinking about it, and it's a tough question. I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, the competition we're playing and what, you know, is required defensively. But everybody fit, I still like the balance of attack and defense that we get out of Cazorla, partnered with Coquelin in the middle. Ozil's obvious, Sanchez is obvious. Right now with our strike force, it's got to be Welbeck. And then, man, Iwobi and Campbell have both shown so much more than I've seen out of anybody else lately, so I'd have to be one of them, probably, you know, just based on recent form, Iwobi.
Yeah. For me, I think, you know, Coquelin's assuring. You know, I don't. All right, Flamini, thank you very much, but no. Arteta, again, thank you very much, but no. Cazorla for me at the moment has been a big miss. You know, there's been times where, you know, Ozil gets that, he's gone missing, but, you know, or his head goes down, he doesn't do anything. Cazorla can pick out a player, can pick out a pass, set pieces, can maybe bang one in. All right, he can score a few penalties. So Cazorla for me, just for goals and creating chances, you chuck him in. Ozil, obviously, you know, for me, he's got to play. Sanchez as well. And then on current form, it's got to be Iwobi and Welbeck for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a blinding question. We've got so many options, but I think it's easy for us to say the best, you know, front line. But like Arsene Wenger or any manager, you've got to pick your team based on who you're playing and what their weaknesses might be. You might have a team who've got two mountain centre backs, and you might feel that in this particular game we might need Giroud up there to play against them. Yeah. So, but if we're just picking it on paper, for me, do you know what? If everyone's fit, I want to see Francis Coquelin and Jack Wilshere in the centre of midfield, you know, because I think that balance, the left-footed player and the right-footed player, they can both dig in as well. It's something that we haven't seen.
Would you have him playing that deep line playmaker like he does for England, though? Like that one that picks them passes.
I would, and I think that will suit his game. Exactly.
Good shout.
I think that position, just next to Francis Coquelin, just behind Mesut Ozil, Jack Wilshere, if he's fit, that he'll give us that drive. He'll give us that bit of aggression. Yeah. And I think that is a player that we haven't actually seen in his best position next to Francis Coquelin. We haven't seen that. And I think that balance, because they're both aggressive, they've both got good work rate, but Jack's got that little bit of nastiness, and he's got that vision of passing as well. Similar to what you just said, JJ, that position that he plays for England. If he is fit, then I will take Jack Wilshere ahead of Cazorla, Ramsey, and El Neni.
That's a big call.
Thank you, mate. That's why I paid this money to do. You know, so it's.
Well, and they both came through the youth squad together, did they not?
Yeah.
Coquelin and Wilshere.
He had a very good understanding in the youth team with Emmanuel Frimpong, and he played in that central position with Frimpong. And I think if Wilshere's got that player who's a bit more disciplined. Because no one wants to see Jack Wilshere diving into tackles because that's where he picks up his injuries. But if he's got that role where he can bomb forward and get that support from someone that's going to be defensive minded, because he hasn't actually had that. Jack Wilshere's never had that. He's had Arteta playing next to him, and he's had other players playing for him. And sometimes we've asked Jack Wilshere to drop back and do things that we don't want him doing. But I think if he's got that character of someone like Coquelin next to him, we'll get the best out of him. And now, if we're going to talk about, you know, who else is going to be, you know, ready to play at the moment within our club, you've got to say Danny Welbeck's got to be the striker, you know. And on the left hand side, Alexis. On the right hand side, that's where the questions are, because we've got a lot of options. Yeah. We've got Theo that can play there. We've got Gerald Campbell that can play there. We've got the Ox that can play there, and Iwobi. So it's a big question, you know. Me personally, I'm going to be a little bit controversial. I'm going to say the Ox. I'm a massive Oxlade-Chamberlain fan, you know, and I think that, again, when he's fit, you know, he's got everything to his game. He's got that pace, he's got that dribbling ability, he can score goals. I mean, before the start of the season, we saw him in the Charity Shield against Chelsea, scored that goal.
I thought I started being like Liverpool, mate. I thought it's his year. It's going to be mine. It's going to be your year, mate. It's your year.
But the problem with JJ is every time he looks good, he picks up an injury. You know, yes. and then he'll play 2 or 3 games, or he'll come on and sub for 15 minutes, and he'll get all the trolls on Twitter coating him off, saying he's shit. You know, so he gets a lot of stick at Oxlade-Chamberlain, but I've still got a lot of faith in him, and I think he'll come good. I really do.
Yeah, I was going to say just here as well. We got another question. It's from Supreme Anarchy. He's gone here. Shout out to Memz and Judd. So, you know, you got a fan there. He put, is the British... Is this British court a fraud? None of them have lived up to their expectations. As seen, Walcott is shite, Ramsey is a ball hog trying to impress Barcelona, Wilshere is unreliable, and Oxlade-Chamberlain is young, so I have hope, but even he gets injured constantly. Only Kieran Gibbs is the one performing for now.
When he plays.
Well, for me, you know, I don't like Kieran Gibbs as a left-back. I've expressed this. But Louis Gibbo, the winger, I think he's done quite well.
Yeah. That's pretty... I mean, that guy doesn't hold any punches back, does he?
No.
And I can say this from, you know, across the pond. I don't have any consequences to deal with. I have to agree with most of that. I think part of it is the excitement that comes when you have a young English player coming up. He gets talked up so much in the media. Everybody expects him to be the next coming of, David Beckham or, Best or, somebody of that ilk. And it's impossible for them to live up to the expectations from day one,
Yeah. The thing I will say about Ramsey and being Beckham, right? I'll throw this out there because I know this to be true. Just because you have your hair like him doesn't mean you play like him. When I was young, I cut my hair in that mohawk, thinking when I go out on the pitch Saturday, I'm going to score a free kick like he does against Greece. I'm going to be amazing. I didn't. I've never made it, mate. I'm still working. I'm not pulling it in like Beckham, mate. So
it's very true.
I had the best Jorge Campos lookalike goalkeeper kits when I was playing.
Yeah.
Lads, can we stop talking about haircuts, please? Because anyone that don't know me, I'm bald as a badger. I can't say that I could have a haircut that looked like David Beckham or a mohawk. I say I look like Vin Diesel every day. So
that is worse people you can look like.
Yeah, fucking hell. Telly Savalas. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for their questions. I know we've run a bit over, so I'll wrap it up here. I want to say thanks to you, Memz, for coming on. Cheers. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure talking to you as well, Judd and JJ. Thank you very much for having me on. And I'm going to rant on a bit, but it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you both, mate. And let's hope that we can win these final games of the season and that we can finish as high as possible. How's that?
Exactly. And Judd, I want to say thanks to you as well, mate.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
No worries, man. Thank you. Well, that's been a Gooner Ramble, guys. I think we might be doing a special during the international break, so keep an eye out for that. And we'll be back with the Watford game and a podcast there. And now we're on iTunes still. SoundCloud, we have some problems, but we're still on there. We're on Stitcher as well for Android users. But obviously, if there's a platform you're using and we're not on it, let us know and we'll sort that out for you. So thanks again, everybody. And I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.